Park and the overlook that we have here. This is my first time attending this. Next year I will try to do better with the weather. But as Don has told me in the past, sometimes it's good.
To get started, I'd like to bring up Amy Roller, the Executive Director of United Ways of Chautauqua County, and she's going to do the invocation. We have no sound system, so we'll just try to talk loud.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Will you bow your heads with me as we pray each in our own way? On this Workers' Memorial Day, we gather in solemn remembrance, honoring the lives of those who have been lost or harmed in the course of their labor. We give thanks for their contributions and hold space for their families and communities. We acknowledge the divine presence that guides us toward justice, mercy, and dignity in all work. We also recognize the role of unions, which through collective strength stand as beacons of protection, advocating for the safety, fairness, and well-being of all workers. And may the spirit of solidarity and compassion inspire us to continue to fight for a world where every worker is treated with respect, their rights upheld, and their safety is prioritized. In this moment, we call upon the divine to bless the labor movement and guide us in our pursuit of justice as we work to create a future where all workers are valued and protected and where their sacrifices are never forgotten. Amen.
Amen. All right, introduction of guests is by me.
Yes.
Going down the list. We have the family of George Spitali here. Back over there. Thank you for coming. Family of Charles Graff. Thank you for coming. And Teresa Bickart, wife of longtime, what is his official title here? Co-chair emeritus.
Right.
James Bickart. We lost Jim and George earlier this year, and they were two of the founders of this Workers' Memorial, so we wouldn't be here without them for sure.
Okay, Tim's doing the welcome to the park.
Okay, and then we also have, George is going to be speaking to us, but George Borello, Senator George Borello is here, thank you. And then also Elizabeth Rankin will be here speaking for Assemblyman Andrew Molitor.
And Frank for the governor.
And Frank, how could I forget Frank Puglisi, who's here for the governor's office. And
He's just historian. He gave us a bunch of names.
okay, John Sipos? Good enough. Stockton Town Board member.
Yeah. And Tom, historian who gave us a number of names that do appear on the memorial list. I thank him for his contribution to our memorial list.
All right, so hopefully I didn't forget anybody, but that's who was marked down and that's who was asterisk, so I'm not going to blame myself on that.
Signed up to might be right over here.
What? Oh, and also Mayor Eklund is here, sorry. A little change in the plan here. To welcome us to the park is going to be the Chautauqua County DPF Director, Tim Card.
Good morning, everybody. I just want to welcome everybody to Erlandson Park and the overlook that we have here. This is my first time attending this. Next year I will try to do better with the weather. But as Don has told me in the past, sometimes it's good and sometimes it's like today. But thank everybody for coming and appreciate all that we do. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, in the past, last year I think was the best weather that we've ever had for this event. We didn't think that we could get that every year, but I know I've been here holding on to bungee cords, holding signs so that they're not hitting poor Senator Borello in the back while he's speaking. I remember the snow falling down for some of them. I remember the hail and the sideways rain, so I will definitely take a little bit of fog and some rain over that sideways blowing windy rain any day. Mary Ellen Decker, who's one of the readers normally for the Workers' Memorial list, She had broke her ankle, so she's not able to make it here today. So Kent Giselle is going to be the one reading the Workers' Memorial List. I am the bell ringer, so we will get in our positions and we will start reading the list and acknowledging all those that have passed away while on job within Chautauqua County.
I just want to thank you guys, everybody here, for joining us today, despite the weather. I believe in the law of averages, so it was beautiful last year. All right, we'll start off at the 1800s. Jarvis Wilcox, J.W. Stoughton, Worthy Roth, Edward Bigg, Jess Hodge, Frank Miller, Willie Clock, Charles Graff, Jonathan Hanson, Alfred Shoesmith, Freda Unger, Walter Robinson, Oscar Williams, William T. Carlisle, Stanley L. Morse, George Kendall, Jerome Hollenbeck, Henry Waite, Frank Wood, Herman Swanson, Theodore Scott, Francis W. Ostrander, George Nelson, George Morton, Harry Baker, Arthur C. Waite, Harry Nolman, Walter Kastenhuber, Oscar Bloom, Harold Anderson, Raymond Allison, Walter F. Daniels, John Tanner, Carl A. Jones, Pearl Spinks, Anthony Joy, Clifford T. Johnson, Donald Tanner, Walter Patchett, Alan J. Wares, Dorothy Ware, Waldo E. Douglas, Dewey Pratt, Dominic C. Innabel, Albert Dean, Wilton H. Schrewers, George E. Dinsbire, Clifford W. Ulrich, Carl B. Niels, Irene M. Howard, John Coe, Donald Spence, Gene McKendrick, Winslow Nelson, Mark Elfman, Glenn N. Peters, Clarence Strawberg, Jerome W. Pencotti, William Renbergen, Chester Jarmolowski, Roy W. McDaniels, Kenneth Shunk, Lawrence Vento Jr., Stanley Gregory, Norman Carlson, Walter E. Raynow, Grace Green Wilcox, Walter Emery, Charles H. Planty, Joseph Siebert, Mangus Thompson, Norman Cole, Anthony N. Demonbro, Clarence R. Olson, Chester H. McDaniels, Frank L. Tuttle Jr., John Veith, Floyd W. Baker, Alfonso D. Panseca, Neil M. Muntz, John Sacamano, Charles H. Rayner, Thomas Wappett, Linda D. Beichtel, Paul King, Dale A. Lewis, Jean Ann Hum, Rocco W. Dolch, W. Andrews, Carlisle J. Basile, Charles V. Condon, Daniel F. Anson, Daniel L. Howe, Gerald Siebold, Thomas S. Roberts, Thomas Buck, Joseph S. H. Mason, John Koval, John Eels, Richard W. Walker, Walter Keene, Frank Madursky, Francis Ardillo, Alton Harlan, Andrew DeFries, William Zam, Charles Mosendell, Lawrence Miller, Russell Davis, John A. Hepner, James A. Parment, Bruce F. Johnson, Chris Allen Tarr, Paul Kelly Jr., Merle Lewis, James Wolcott, Frank Polichetri, Ernest W. Ramelt, Daniel Jocelyn, Bruce Reinhardt, David Kempf, Richard Walrow, Mark C. Meeborn, Joseph G. Bond, Christopher Cesarolo, Jeffrey Ball, Angel Sokowski, Lori Ann Bear, Deborah Ann Histed, Thomas A. Helis, Carlton Bettle, Peter Anderson, James D. Lloyd, Rodney L. Huddleston, Patrick Tunnison, Richard Nolson, Richard L. Bush, Gordon Hess, James Lesh, Leroy Elmsey, John Bennick, Cheryl H. Stenbach, McKelvin Wolf, Robert Goodwill, Richard A. Jude, William Bennett, Amy R. King, Lawrence Hooker, Angela D. Burdick, Burton A. Mink, Jason A. Walker, Jeff Sanders, Albert W. Storer, Lee Turk, Kim Enick, David J. Burrows, Douglas Vincent, Juanita Caldwell. Linda France, Nathan Damcott, Lawrence L. McIntyre, Joseph A. Lungabardo, James Miller, Richard M. Peelman, John W. Redknock Jr., Paul Bickert, Michael Sattel, Kevin Niebel, Eugene Jean Leonardis, Andrew Goodwin, Ronald J. Ketty, James Hall, Michael Travis, Michael McRae, William J. Boneberg, Alan L. Harding, Patricia Ann Grasso Bova, James Ellis, Daniel Hunt, Scott Deming, Alan W. Chase, Angelina Lamatina. Thank you.
Thanks, Kent. At this time, is Dean here yet, or is it just Walt doing the wreath? Walt Robertson from the Dunkirk Central Labor Council is going to place the wreath over here. right, and then that brings us to Ryan Sweeney from the Jamestown Central Labor Council. He's going to be doing the dedication of the new plaques for deceased board members, James Bickart and George Spitali, and also the dedication of the new bricks. Ryan?
Thank you, Don. Good morning, everybody. It's my honor to sit here and honor two great men, two giants in the labor community in this area. I can't think of any two people who did so much for so many and asked for so little in return. They were both instrumental in getting this Workers' Memorial in place. Both were charter members of their respective labor councils. And luckily, both of them finished their working careers and got to enjoy some retirement. But their effects that will be felt for generations. And also, just want to, you know, it's very honorable that we do this every year. But it's certainly unfortunate that we have to add bricks each year. So I would just remind everybody, please try to work safely. And for those of us here, you know, I know everybody works and endeavors to make sure that everybody returns home from work in as good a shape as they left for it. So just please continue doing the work you're doing. And a special thanks to Mr. Bickart and Mr. Spitali's family for coming out. Again, everybody here greatly appreciates all the work they did for all of us, and they will be remembered for a long time. Certainly don't need a marker on a bench to remember their contributions, but it's the least we could do. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, the new bricks that we are dedicating today that are in are from the local labor unions who've donated bricks, but we also have 2 bricks from the families of last year's recipients whose names appear on the bench also, Doug Stock and, Jack Rudy. And who is... Oh, Don Britsky. God, Don is still standing there, and I forgot the thing. Her family and Jug Stock's family both put bricks there at the top of the walkway out there. Those are the new bricks. Unfortunately, the bricks of the new people we added to the thing this year have not yet arrived. However, I've been told by the maintenance department of the Parks Commission, or Parks Department, that they are going to redo our walkway, improve the setting, get rid of all the grass that's been growing up, and putting in a new bed and relaying all the bricks, so that for next year's ceremony, that walkway will be in a lot better shape and hopefully will, you know, look a lot prettier. And I'm also allowed for, unfortunately, for more expansion, because right now I'm already researching 3 names for next year, so. And I know that we just had one death in Dunkirk, and that's something we gotta remember. Every year, we seem to lose at least one person to industrial accidents. Well, let's face it, the biggest contributors to our death toll, our death memorial list in the last few years has been farming. Tractor rollovers, yeah, dentures aren't working today. That contributes a lot. So this being an agricultural county, we have to remember that that particular occupation is the most dangerous and the one that we lose the most people to. So it's just a reminder, when you're out on the roads and see a tractor, be careful, because they are, you know, those are the ones that contribute the biggest number of people to our death roll, our late memorial roll. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Now we want to have Frank Puglisi come up for a proclamation from Governor Hochul's office.
Hello, I am honored to be here representing Governor Kathy Hochul. I have a proclamation from her. It says, whereas New York State's workforce is comprised of dedicated men and women who keep our community strong and viable as the backbone of state and local labor who are employed in public facilities, governmental offices, transportation, infrastructure, healthcare institutions, and our education system, and whereas each of them have an impact on people's lives and our social and economic foundations, and deserve to work in a safe and healthy environment that allows them to carry out their duties with a sense of security for their lives and well-being. And whereas, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there are 5,486 fatal work injuries recorded in the United States in 2022, and 5.7% increase from 2021, numbering approximately 15 workers who died on the job each day, or about 1 every 96 minutes. In addition, there were 2.8 million workplace injuries and illnesses reported in 2022, which translates to about 7,671 per day. And whereas the Occupational Safety and Health Act is a federal labor law enacted in 1970 to ensure safety and healthy working conditions for employees in the private sector and federal government, this legislation created the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, which sets and enforces workplace health and safety standards, reduces workplace hazards, and implements job safety and health programs. Whereas this landmark law came about thanks to the tireless efforts of the labor movement, which organized for safety, working conditions, and demanding that the government take decisive action to protect working people. Since then, unions and allies have fought hard to ensure the conditions of these protections under the law that has been made, job safety, and save lives. And whereas today, more than 50 years since the Occupational Safety and Health Act went into effect on April 28, 1971, now designated Workers' Memorial Day, the law is a mainstay of labor and ensures the fundamental rights of every worker to safety in the workplace. And whereas New York State is vigilant leader in upholding, strengthening, and protecting hard-fought labor safety laws, we join on this day to recognize those members of the labor force who lost their lives during the course of routine workday, and we recommit ourselves to the ongoing right to safety in the workplace for all people. Now, therefore, I, Kathy Hochul, Governor of the State of New York, do hereby proclaim April 28th, 2025 as Workers' Memorial Day.
Thank you, sir. Don't want to put it on the wet part of the table. Representative from Assemblyman Molitor's office, Elizabeth Rankin, will come up. Yes.
Hi, everybody. Assemblyman Molitor is at a family wedding today, and in spite of the rain, the wedding will go on, which is good. And I have heard that rain on a wedding day means you're coming into money. So, never heard that. And just like all of you fine people, in spite of the rain, you showed up today. You came here today because this is so important. And it's like our workers. They go to work no matter what the conditions are. And you think about, to steal a thought from a friend of mine who said, can you imagine getting up, get ready, go to have your coffee, go to work, never expecting not to come home? The families and the workers that happen, our hearts are with them. I mean, life is full of surprises, but that's not one you want to have. So I'm not going to talk very long, but I do want to mention part of Amy's prayer earlier. What we want to do from this is value and protect our workers. Thank goodness we have everybody who gets up in spite of the rain, in spite of the conditions, and goes to work. So I'm going to say, God bless each of you. Pray for each other, take care of each other, and never forget those who didn't come home. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to call up Jamestown Mayor Kim Eklund.
Good morning. Today we gather as a community to honor and remember the men and women of the Jamestown area and Chautauqua County who went to work and were not able to come home. They were more than professions. They were our family members, friends, and neighbors. Their dedication helped build our community, strengthen our businesses, and shape the future of our region. Their loss is felt not only on the jobs that they performed, but in the friendships they formed, the lessons they shared, and the families they left behind. Each name spoken today represents a life dedicated to service and hard work. Their contributions shape the industries that fuel our local economy, the institutions that support our communities, and the neighborhoods that we all call home. Their absence leaves an undeniable void, but their impact remains in the work they did and the lives that they touched. As we reflect on their sacrifices, we must also recognize the ongoing responsibility that each and every one of us share in ensuring that no more lives are lost due to unsafe working conditions. This year, our community mourns an even greater loss with James and George Spitali. I have been a dear friend of George and a lifelong I know he was a lifelong advocate for workers and a fierce champion for the workplace safety and labor rights. George spent his life ensuring that workers were not only valued, but also protected. As a union leader, fellow city councilman, veteran, and tireless public servant, he fought for stronger workplace protections and accountability, never hesitating for standing up for what was right and also teaching others to do the same. His leadership helped secure safer working conditions, and his impact can still be seen in the policies he influences today in the city of Jamestown and the workers he has empowered. We must stand together, workers, businesses, unions, government, and community members, to ensure that workplace safety remains a priority. For generations, labor organizations have fought to protect workers, saving lives and improving industries. Yet there is still work to be done. Every worker deserves the right to a safe workplace, and every family member deserves the peace of mind that their loved ones will return at the end of the day. This is not just about policies and regulations. It's about fostering a culture where safety comes first, where workers are valued, and where businesses recognize that protecting their employees is not just the right thing to do, but is an essential and mandatory thing to do for their business and thriving community. It's about making sure that every workplace, whether in construction, farming, manufacturing, healthcare, public service, or any other field, prioritizes this well-being of its workers above all else. As we reflect on those we have lost, let us honor their memory, not only with just words, but with action. We must advocate for stronger protections, hold employers accountable, and never lose sight of the human cost when safety is neglected. That is how we truly honor every worker who gave their life in service to their job. To the families here today, please know that your loved ones are not forgotten. Their work mattered, their lives mattered, and today we remember them with voices, our commitment, our unwavering determination to make Chautauqua County a safer place for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. And then we're going to ask former Assemblyman Andrew Goodell to come up and read a proclamation from County Executive P.J. Wendell. P.J. couldn't make it today. He's out of state at a nephew, I believe's First Communion. So he couldn't make it. Thanks, Andy.
It's my pleasure to share this proclamation from our County Executive, P.J. Wendell. Whereas the Chautauqua County Workers Memorial is holding their annual Workers Memorial Day today, and whereas Workers Memorial Day is a day to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice while serving their community. Whereas the Chautauqua County Workers Memorial Site at Erlandson Park serves as a lasting tribute to all Chautauqua County workers who have been injured or killed on the job. And whereas thousands of workers each year are killed or injured at the workplace throughout the United States. And whereas we're celebrating the anniversary of the passage of the Occupational Safety and Health Act, OSHA, and the International Day of Mourning, which is recognized worldwide. Whereas all Americans benefit from having strong safety and health protection for workers in every occupation. Now therefore, Paul M. Wendell Jr., Chautauqua County Executive, does hereby claim today as Workers' Memorial Day in Chautauqua County. And he recognizes and appreciates the Chautauqua County Workers' Memorial on their 25th anniversary of this event. And in memory of all Chautauqua County workers injured or killed on the job, our county executive asks all county residents to extend our gratitude and our thanks for their service, and to extend our gratitude to the thousands of workers who go to work every day in Chautauqua County looking to be productive, safe, and healthy while on the job and contributing to our community. In witness thereof, P.J. Wendell signed this proclamation and attached the seal of the County of Chautauqua, declaring this as Workers' Memorial Day. Thank you.
All right, and then that leaves us to our keynote speaker for today, Senator Borrello. He's been coming up to these quite often. We can't make them all, but George sure does try to get to them all. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our New York State Senator, George Borrello. Sorry.
It's okay. Thank you all. First of all, I want to thank you all for being here again. I guess I am not the good luck charm because last year was the nicest weather that we've ever had, and I wasn't here. So,
So we've already asked them to find something.
yeah, exactly. Next year, I won't be here next year, so you can wear shorts. No, it is an honor to be here once again and to speak about this. You know, when you listen to those names being called, these are the names of people, you recognize these names, right? These are the families that built this county and that sacrificed some of their loved ones for that purpose. So it's a somber day and an important day, and 25 years of doing this, which I'm proud to be here to speak on this 25th anniversary of doing this. You know, I come from a working class family. Plumbers, farmers, steel workers, people that are laborers that go to work and just want to get their paycheck and come home safely to their families, and that's my family's background. And there's new names being added, people that really sacrificed a lot for this particular memorial and for the labor movement here in Chautauqua County. My friend Doug Stock, James Bickert, Don Brisky, of course George Spitali, a legend, and one other name of people that were going to be Jack Rudd. So thank you to those folks for the service that they provided, and and may they rest in peace, and thank them for their service. You know, the 180 times, more than 180 times that bell was rung, it really, really puts it into perspective what we're talking about today, those lives. And you spend that moment to say that name to ensure that their names are not forgotten. You know, there used to be about 38 worker deaths a day in 1970 here in the United States, 38 a day. And while that's improved to 15 a day, it's still 15 too many. Still today, with all the technology, all the safety, all the protocols, all the recognition of what happens, we still lose 15 workers a day to industrial accidents. And as was mentioned earlier, we have a sober reminder here at the steel plant in Dunkirk, where a life was lost recently, that there is still danger out there. As Bob mentioned, agriculture, Chautauqua County's cornerstone is a very dangerous job. Even today, with all the improvements in technology, we still know that this is dangerous. And no one should have to sacrifice their life for a paycheck. And that's what today is all about, ensuring that we recognize that there still is work to be done to ensure that people can do their jobs safely. You know, this fight for worker safety, this movement has deep roots. Back in 1911, 146 workers, mostly young women, died in the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire in New York City. They were trapped behind locked doors. Firefighter ladders couldn't reach them. Many jumped to their deaths. That tragedy sparked a national outrage and a wave of reforms that laid groundwork for the safety standards that we have today. While those reforms changed the course of history, they didn't end that fight. The dangers that existed in 1911 haven't disappeared, they've just altered. They've changed. The new sacrifices that we have now are because of people trying to cut corners or save money. And that's what can't be done. So I can tell you that as a Republican, this isn't a partisan issue. It's not left or right, it's about right or wrong. The right to have a safe job is something that everyone should agree on. It doesn't matter if you're wearing a hard hat, scrubs, a uniform, or a name tag. No one should ever have to trade their life for a paycheck. Government has a responsibility here too. Yes, we want less red tape. Yes, we want businesses to thrive. But we also need strong oversight, because when it comes to your spouse, your parent, your child who doesn't come home from work, nothing else matters more. That's why I've stayed engaged in these issues, because I believe that we can have strong businesses and strong protections. We don't have to choose. Here in New York, we have some of the strongest workplace safety standards in the country. From rigorous regulations to public employee protections, our laws reflect a long-standing commitment to worker safety. But as strong as those laws are, we still have work to do. Tragically, in 2024, 2 families in our area lost loved ones who were working for the Thruway Authority when they were hit by drivers who failed to slow down in the work zones. I have family and friends who work on the Thruway and the DOT. Again, no one should, because you're in a hurry, no one should lose their life because you're in a hurry or you're not paying attention. One was from Genesee County in my district, and the other was from Erie County, although the accident occurred at exit 58, right near my home. These weren't isolated incidents. They were preventable tragedies that underscored the urgent need for stronger protections. That's why I introduced 2 bills aimed at expanding and strengthening New York's automated work zone speed enforcement program. These proposals are about making sure that the laws we pass are keeping pace with the reality that workers face on the ground. Specifically, my bills would mandate comprehensive speed monitoring in work zones by requiring at least 2 photo speed enforcement cameras at each state highway and thruway work site, vastly expanding the coverage beyond the current 30 site limit to better deter speeding and reduce injuries and fatalities. The next one would strengthen penalties under the Move Over law by significantly increasing fines, license points, and potential jail time for drivers who fail to slow down or change lanes when approaching stopped vehicles. These changes would create real consequences and send a strong message that reckless driving near road crews won't be tolerated. These bills are just one part of a broader effort, because we are reminded, again, just a few weeks ago in Dunkirk, even with all the progress, we can never allow ourselves to grow complacent. So with that, I will say this. We are a working class community here in Chautauqua County. That's what we do here. We are the ones that are out there working on the roads, the construction sites, climbing ladders, responding to calls. That's what we do here. That's who we are. And we need to make sure it is safe. And the labor movement here in Chautauqua County has been a bedrock for ensuring that people can go do their job safely and go home to their families. And that's really all we're asking for, folks. People get to go home safely to their families. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
All right, that concludes our program for this year, today. There are refreshments and donuts over on the table back there. Please help yourself to those. Those are brought to you by IBEW, and then I think CSEA is reimbursing them for that. So thank you very much. Thanks for coming, and thanks for everything that we did here, and hopefully next year the weather's a little bit better. And please come. Let's see if you're a jinx or not. Thank you. Thanks.